The French Revolution stands as one of the most transformative events in world history, a dramatic upheaval that forever altered the course of France, Europe, and the very concepts of liberty, equality, and fraternity. To understand its significance, we must journey back to 18th century France, a society simmering with discontent and poised on the edge of monumental change. In the late 1700s, France was a nation of stark contrasts. The country was rich in culture and tradition, boasting enormous wealth among the aristocracy and clergy. Yet, beneath this glittering surface, millions of ordinary people, peasants, urban workers, and the emerging middle class struggled under the weight of crushing taxes, feudal obligations, and social inequality. The population was divided into three rigid estates: the first estate, comprising the clergy; the second estate, the nobility; and the third estate, everyone else, about 98% of the population. While the privileged first and second estates enjoyed immense benefits, the third estate bore the brunt of taxation and had little say in governance. The financial crisis facing France grew ever more dire. Years of extravagant spending by King Louis XVI and his predecessors, costly wars like the 7 Years' War and the American Revolution, and a deeply unfair tax system left the nation nearly bankrupt. By 1789, the government could no longer pay its bills. Bread, the staple of the French diet, became scarce and expensive, leading to hunger and desperate anger among the poor. Faced with mounting pressure, King Louis XVI reluctantly called the Estates General, a representative assembly that had not met in over 170 years. On May 5, 1789, delegates from all three estates convened at Versailles. The third estate, however, quickly realized that their voices would once again be drowned out by the privileged minority. Frustrated and determined, they broke away and declared themselves the National Assembly, vowing to draft a constitution that would limit the king's power and protect the rights of the people. This act of defiance sparked a chain reaction. On June 20, 1789, when locked out of their meeting hall, the members of the National Assembly gathered on a nearby tennis court and swore the famous tennis court oath, pledging never to disband until a new constitution was established. The king's authority was challenged as never before. Tensions boiled over on July 14, 1789, when Parisians, fearing a royal crackdown, stormed the Bastille, a medieval fortress and prison that symbolized royal tyranny. The fall of the Bastille sent shockwaves across France, serving as a rallying cry for revolutionaries and a sign that the old order was crumbling. Revolutions swept through the countryside. Peasants rose up against their landlords, burning records of feudal dues and seizing land. In August, the National Assembly responded by abolishing feudal privileges and issuing the Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen. This document proclaimed freedom and equality for all men, the right to property, and resistance to oppression, principles that would echo across the globe. But the revolution was far from over. As the monarchy struggled to maintain control, radical factions gained influence in Paris. The king and his family, attempting to flee the country in June 1791, were caught and brought back to Paris, fueling suspicions of royal betrayal. The ideals of the revolution collided with the harsh realities of war, economic hardship, and political chaos. In April 1792, France declared war on Austria and Prussia, who threatened to restore the king's absolute power. The war brought further turmoil as foreign armies advanced and royalist uprisings threatened the fragile new government. In response, radical revolutionaries, led by figures like Maximilien Robespierre, Georges Danton, and Jean-Paul Marat, took control. The monarchy was abolished, and France was declared a republic. King Louis XVI was tried for treason and, in January 1793, executed by guillotine. The execution of the king marked a turning point. The revolution entered its most tumultuous phase, the Reign of Terror. Driven by fear of counter-revolution and foreign invasion, the revolutionary government, led by the Committee of Public Safety and Robespierre, launched a campaign of ruthless repression. Tens of thousands were arrested on suspicion of opposing the revolution. Thousands went to the guillotine, including Queen Marie Antoinette and many former revolutionaries themselves. The streets of Paris ran red with blood, and the ideals of liberty were overshadowed by paranoia and violence. Yet, even as the terror raged, the revolution achieved lasting reforms. Feudalism was abolished, and new laws promoted secularism and equality. The metric system was introduced, and a new calendar, based on Enlightenment principles, replaced the old religious order. Revolutionary armies defended the nation against foreign invaders, instilling a sense of national pride and unity. By 1794, the excesses of the terror led to a backlash. Robespierre himself was arrested and executed, and a more moderate government, known as the Directory, took power. Though the violence subsided, France remained unstable. Economic hardship persisted, and new threats emerged from both royalists and radical revolutionaries. Into this chaos stepped a brilliant young general, Napoleon Bonaparte. In 1799, he seized power in a coup d'état, ending the revolutionary government and establishing the consulate. The revolution, as it had been, was over, yet its legacy endured. Napoleon's rule would spread many revolutionary reforms across Europe, even as he crowned himself emperor. The French Revolution's impact cannot be overstated. It inspired oppressed peoples around the world, ignited debates about rights and governance, and set the stage for modern democracy. The revolution challenged the idea of absolute monarchy, promoted the concept of citizenship, and asserted that governments must serve the people, not the other way around. But the revolution also revealed the dangers of extremism. The same forces that fueled hope and change could, when unchecked, lead to violence and tyranny. The ideals of liberty and equality were hard-won, and the struggle to realize them continues to this day. In the end, the French Revolution was not just a political event, but a profound transformation of society, values, and the very meaning of power. It remains a powerful reminder that the quest for freedom and justice is never simple and never finished.